I swear we live in some horrific episode of The Twilight Zone. Things exposed on a day-to-day basis now that completely defy what should be reality, but it's the world we're living in. We're going to cover what just happened and the newest Twitter drop, if you want to call it that, and it's now 6 degrees of somebody else, the man behind the curtain, who continues to surface time and time and time again. Well, now, axed, out, see you later. And how many more of these people are we going to find until we actually have some semblance of freedom back? The manipulation is beyond imagination, and this story will just go to prove that once again. Now, my name is Justus Knight. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, take just a few seconds to do that. Join as a member. It's your way of supporting me so I can continue to bring you these broadcasts. Also need you to get over to we'reforkedup.com, a lighter-hearted look at our lives, what we do on a daily basis, away from the news. And then also, as you know, restrictedrepublic.com, growing daily. All the news, no commercials, no interruptions, everything you've been looking for. And we also drop our We're Forked Up episodes in there too, so you literally have an aggregation of all our sites, all our material, plus the exclusive content. Right now, discount code FREEDOM will get you $5 a month for 2 years, plus 14 days for free to check it out. Get over there, but for right now, let's get back to this broadcast. So the tweet that started it all: in light of concerns about Baker's possible role in suppression of information important to the public dialogue, he was exited from Twitter today, but that is just a sliver of the story. We're going to go through the larger story. You see here, Elon Musk fires Twitter lawyer James Baker over suppression of documents on Hunter Biden's story, but James Baker is so much more, or was so much more, or remains, who knows, more than just a Twitter lawyer. You remember the history of James Baker? We'll just call this 6 degrees of James Baker as it relates to Russia. But, of course, Elon Musk's audience asks the question, was he asked to explain himself first? Yes, his explanation was unconvincing, and rightfully so. Without even knowing the facts of this entire story, I can tell you there's very little explanation that would be allowed to be given to me either. So James Baker at 6 degrees of separation. Trial opens in Trump-Russia case of Hillary Clinton's Alpha Bank lawyer. The entire Alpha Bank hoax, you remember that? Well, do you remember who Michael Sussman handed the information to? Who got him the meeting with the FBI? You guessed it. That person was James Baker. The charging document alleges that information Sussman gave to then FBI General Counsel James Baker on September 19th of 2016 was the result of efforts by one of his clients, since retired tech executive Rodney Joffe, to exploit his industry connections to create a narrative regarding Trump. But was he representing him? Was he not representing him? Well, that could have been the linchpin in the case, but then again, James Baker had his hand in that also. It seems the biggest challenge in this case may be proving whether the statement is material or tended to affect the matter under investigation, in light of FBI General Counsel Jim Baker's deposition testimony that the FBI conducts independent assessments of information, regardless of the source. If it goes against Trump, bring it on in. Open door policy. James Baker right in the center of it. And his best buddy, that's right, James Coney. James Baker, in case you didn't remember all these connections, I'll remind you, because James Baker started to get pinched a little bit, and to some accounts, turned state's evidence. James Baker provides explosive testimony on Spygate. What a disgusting picture I'm looking at on the screen. James Baker is the former FBI General Counsel who has turned state's evidence. He is at the heart of the FISA abuse scandal. Spygate. Not also Alpha Bank. But now we're going to add in Russiagate. We're going to add in that FISA abuse scandal. And it goes much further. I don't know if you remember what Mark Meadows said about this.
There's other unanswered questions with regards to FISA abuse. There's a strong suggestion that confidential human sources actually taped members within the Trump campaign. We want to get some answers. Actually, we've been asking some of those questions for many months and have not received.
I'll stop you there. For many months, for many years, whatever it may be called, you still got nothing, except we know now that the Alpha Bank story was completely false. We know Russiagate was completely unvalidated, but does things change? Of course not. And why? Because of people like James Baker, in our opinion. The lawmakers would not provide many specifics about the private transcribed interview. Citing a confidential agreement with Baker and his attorneys, however, they indicated in broad terms that Baker was cooperative and forthcoming about the genesis of the Russia case in 2016, and about surveillance warrant application for Trump campaign aide Carter Page. 6 degrees of separation for all things Russiagate. I told you. Of course, down the road, it all comes out in the wash, and it results in James Baker leaving the agency. One of them, as they state here, James Baker was one of Mr. Comey's closest confidants. He served as the FBI's top lawyer until December, when he resigned as the new director. Christopher Wray began installing his own advisors. Mr. Baker had been investigated by the Justice Department on suspicion of sharing classified information with reporters. Mr. Comey relied heavily on Mr. Baker as he oversaw the politically charged investigation. Now, come on now. Into Mrs. Clinton's private email server also. Boy, Baker was just simply everywhere. And Baker ended up, that's right, at Twitter. Now, what was he doing there, and what upset Elon Musk so much? Oh, my friends, that is right around the corner. But first, we got, James Comey, giving him accolades, of course. A great public servant, retired from the FBI today. Jim Baker's integrity and commitment to the rule of law have benefited our country through 5 presidents of both parties. We are fortunate he and so many others chose to devote their lives to justice, and they continue to devote their life to justice, well, just on something different, because James Baker goes to Twitter. Twitter lawyer who helped block Hunter Biden's laptop story, helped ignite Trump Russia probe. It is a small, small world, and not just that annoying little ride at Disney. No, this is our everyday life now, isn't it? However, Baker insisted that there was reasonable assumptions that Russians were behind another major scandal. All these guys just, I don't know, they must have posters of Vladimir Putin in their room and just be like, everything's Russia. Everything. Oh man, my coffee's cold. It's Putin's fault. That paper, that document's not signed. Well, Putin made me not do that. Seriously, that's all they focused on. They got the hook into the American people, and they stuck with it time and time again. He faced a major scandal implicating a Joe Biden in the corruption selling of access to foreign figures. Baker's natural default was to kill the story and stop others from sharing the allegations. And he did that while at Twitter. Well, lo and behold, out comes the thread, the Twitter. You heard me cover this on Lisa Haven's channel. The Matt Tabai entire exposure of Elon Musk and a machine that was working behind the scenes. Well, he puts out a supplemental. On Friday, the first installment of the Twitter files was published here. We expect to publish more over the weekend, with many wondering why there was a delay. Well, the delay was because of, ding, 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 James Baker. That's right. We can now tell you part of the reason on why. On Tuesday, Twitter Deputy General Counsel and former General Counsel to the FBI, Jim Baker, was fired. Among the reason, vetting the first batch of Twitter files without knowledge of, well, new management, a.k.a. Elon Musk. That's right, all that information that was released. It appears that somebody, not that it was what results in it, but nonetheless was involved in vetting the information without the knowledge or prior written consent of the new management. Hence, you got it, Elon Musk axed him. But I'll read just a couple more of this in the thread. The process for producing the Twitter files involved delivery to 2 journalists, Barry Weiss and me, via a lawyer close to new management. However, after the initial batch, things became complicated. Over the weekend, while we were both dealt with obstacles to do searches, it was Barry Weiss who discovered that the person in charge of releasing the files was someone named Jim. When she called to ask Jim's last name, the answer came back, Jim Baker. No better statement than this. My jaw hit the floor. And mine would have too. As a matter of fact, it's stamped right on it. Spectra, Baker, emails. Isn't it wonderful how the wheels of the bus go round and round? Everything in government goes round and round. It always ends up in the same spot. We end up finding nothing. And we continue to see how many people are trying to stand in the way of just giving America information. Just giving America information. But every effort is put in a way to stop that information from coming out. From vetting of emails, to stopping or attempting to stop Twitter files supplemental releases, all involved in this 6 degrees from James Baker. I want to absolutely thank, and you know I follow this man all the time, Jonathan Turley, for giving me that thought as I read his article, vetted out what I was going to publish to assure it was correct. Who is James Baker? Well, the guy that Elon Musk just termed. He's out of here. But doesn't that go back and beckon to Karine Jean-Pierre, slammed for calling Elon Musk Twitter files and Hunter Biden a distraction? Well, it appears it wasn't a distraction. At least the press secretary was trying to distract you from realizing what was actually happening behind the scenes. But we can thank Elon Musk once again for outing yet another of those that some call the deep states. All I call them is people standing in the way of giving you the truth. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.